My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely, while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Every now and then when we're covering a movie on It's Not That Bad, I always find it really cool when we stumble upon an early appearance in someone's career. So today, we're going to take that to the next level, and we're going to pick movies featuring A-list actors before they were really big. And here to join me in this trip down basically the yearbook version of someone's filmography is Lyle Robichaud from AM640 Toronto. Lyle, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Doing great, Jason. Very excited. This one is an interesting topic. I've had this one in the back of my mind for a while because there's a couple really interesting movies here. So I'm excited.
So as you were going through this, where in a career, in a filmography, were you looking for this to land as far as someone's, back catalog?
I figured this is somebody before they were a household name. There's no definite point. It doesn't have to be their first movie, although in one or two cases of mine it is. But before they were famous, before their name was at the top of the bill as they're in this movie, I'm going to go see it. As long as they're relatively unknown at this time, I call it a safe bet.
Yeah, I wasn't personally looking for young actor roles, but I was definitely looking for a point where you could sit there and say, this is when they became big. And it's not necessarily a film or a TV show kind of thing or that role, whatever the case may be. But really, you can sit there and go, if this is the point where you can sit there and say they are the household name, then anything before that works.
The way I looked at it is Leo was in a couple things before Titanic, but Titanic was the line, right? I didn't use Leo for any of mine. So this is just for example wise. But Leo DiCaprio, pre-Titanic, it counts.
See, I even took a look at What's Eating Gilbert Grape. I'm like, that to me was where he really started to become more of a household name. But Leo's not in any of my picks either. He was definitely, as far as the research goes, but he didn't end up as any of my subjects.
This is another one. I've got a couple weird picks that movies you might not. One of them specifically, I know, will be a little bit out of left field, literally, when you think about it.
Oh, I guarantee you my keep is going to have people sitting there go, huh? But we'll get to that in a second. Because here's what we're going to do. Lyle and I are both going to pick 3 movies each, a keep, a watch, and a pass. The keep is one where we'll put it on anytime, no matter what. The watch, hey, you know what? If it's streaming, even if it's got commercials, I'm down with that. The pass is one where, well, maybe the actor should have passed on it themselves. But Lyle, your keep pick to get us started on movies featuring A-list actors before they were big.
My keep is Nightmare on Elm Street with Johnny Depp. Back before he was anybody, he was the kind of nerdy, one of the first people killed in A Nightmare on Elm Street. And right then you can see the layers there. You can see the talent, but he was a nobody in this movie. And it is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. And I didn't know for a long time, because I wasn't a movie nerd at the time, that this was Johnny Depp. This was Jack Sparrow, who I also loved. So once I made that connection, this was kind of my first example when I was young and kind of getting into being a nerd of, oh man, that's him before he, became huge, before Fear and Loathing, before Edward Scissorhands, before all of this. One of his first major roles was as one of the teens, friend of Nancy's on A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I absolutely love this film. Everyone in it's great. Of course, Robert Englund is a horror movie Mount Rushmore. But in the background, there's a very, very young Johnny Depp.
This is kind of like, since you mentioned Freddy Krueger, this is kind of like going back to the very first Friday the 13th movie and realizing that Kevin Bacon is in that one as well. And that's the really cool thing about horror movies, is that, it didn't take much to make them. And it also didn't take much to make them iconic at that point in time. Put on a slow walk and a goalie mask, and all of a sudden you have a killer that lasts well over 10 movies.
And the right score.
Very much the right score. Or depending on the year, the right soundtrack. Because it's funny, because when you take a look at, the Nightmare on Elm Street series, you get to Dream Warriors, and I am cranking.
Fire.
Right? I am cranking that Dawkins song. Yes. With the Dream Warriors.
Incredible.
But then you get to, I can't remember which Friday the 13th it was, but you got Alice Cooper on the soundtrack going, doing He's Back, the Man Behind the Mask. A fantastic
That's Freddy's Dead,
song.
The Final Nightmare, I believe.
No, it's earlier than that. I think
Is it?
I think it's actually like Friday the 13th, either part 4 or part 6, one of the two.
I think 6 is Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare.
No, I think 6 is actually Jason Lives. Because
I'm going backwards. I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
Yeah, because exactly, because you had 7, which was Jason Takes Manhattan. Like, it's hard to keep track of them all at this point because there are so many of them. But the thing is, Nightmare on Elm Street, you're right. When it comes to the Mount Rushmore of horror icons, Freddy Krueger, for sure. Jason Voorhees, absolutely. Michael Myers, most definitely. The fourth one can be up for debate. You could have Leatherface up there. You could have Pinhead up here.
I think Leatherface, just because Pinhead, there's no remakes of Hellraiser coming out now. There will always be Texas Chainsaw Massacre spin-offs and remakes happening because it was so huge when it came out. See, you say that now, and then someone's going to sit there and go, oh yeah, we haven't done a Pinhead film in a while. All right, let's do that one. As long as a Skarsgård is behind the mask, I'm in.
I'm just trying to picture now what that would be like when The Crow finally comes out. But we'll get to that one when it finally releases.
We'll get to that one. Probably on It's Not That Bad.
Hey, we already tackled 3 of 4 Crow movies on It's Not That Bad already. So
I know, but the remake might be there too.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Overnight, Dunkin's Pumpkin Spice Coffee has sent folks into a cozy craze. I'm Lauren LaTulip reporting live from home in my hand-knit turtleneck that my Nana made me. Cinnamony.
The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.
I can't believe I'm going to be saying this sentence on a show, but here we are.
God.
My keep pick. Earth Girls Are Easy.
What?
Okay, let me explain. The reason and the person we're talking about here, this is a very early performance of one Mr. Jim Carrey as one of the aliens. But Gina Davis, Jeff Goldblum, and Damon Wayans, this movie is campy fun. Like absolute. First of all, the film is called Earth Girls Are Easy. If you thought Snakes on a Plane was one of those movie titles that were out there, Earth Girls Are Easy. Between this one and The Mating Habits of the Earthbound Human, these are like in the pantheon of films where you literally rented it because of the name alone. But despite the, the innuendo of the title, this is actually a really cool, fun film that it's not lewd, it's not crude, it's not dirty. It's just fun and silly. And Goldblum, Carey, and Wayans together as the aliens. This is the most colorful fun. And this is before In Living Color really exploded. Like, yes, prior to this, Jim Carrey had been in Once Bitten. He was in Peggy Sue Got Married, but he wasn't the star. He wasn't, he wasn't made a household name because of it. And
he wasn't The Mask yet.
Yeah. And as the role of Whiplock in this, he's definitely not going to be a household name because of Earth Girls Are Easy. But this is one of those ones where you step back and go, okay, yeah, we could see the comedy fun in this. And it fit perfectly with Jim Carrey's brand of physical comedy. Like between him and Damon Wayans together, and of course, Jeff Goldblum is freaking Jeff Goldblum. But if you want a good, just silly, put your brain on vacation fun, go find a copy of 1988's Earth Girls Are Easy, and I guarantee you will have a good laugh.
I'll take your word for it.
This is one of those ones where you grab the box off like the shelf. And by the way, I miss Blockbuster, but you grab the box off the shelf and you sit there and go, this can't be real.
Yeah. It even the title, I've seen clips of it, but I haven't seen the whole movie.
Do yourself a favor. Like, you literally need to come up with I feel like this needs to be a Keep Watch Pass episode somewhere down the road of I can't believe they made a film with this title. It's up there. That's actually a really
good one.
Yeah, it's up there with Mating Habits of the Earthbound Human, which may be the best Carmen Electra performance in a film you ever see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. With the voiceover work of David Hyde Pierce, that one's hilarious. But yeah, Earth Girls Are Easy. I'll watch this any day of the week. It's fantastic. I'm going the opposite direction of films for my watch pick, and I'm going with the third film from the filmography of one Miss Natalie Portman. I'm going with Heat.
Oh, that's a great movie.
This is a perfect slow burn of a film. Michael Mann is a fantastic director. Between this and Last of the Mohicans, he has made some of the best evenly paced throughout the film movies. Pacino and De Niro together at last in a film, culminating in that scene where they're sitting down at the diner and they're just trying to figure out how, when this is going to go down. This is brilliant filmmaking. This is chess move filmmaking. Yes, prior to this, one of the films that Natalie Portman was in Leon, the Professional. But while she got a lot of acclaim out of that one, it didn't necessarily make her a star. This film, to me, is definitely the start of that stardom because she plays a really powerful role in this as Pacino's daughter. It is fantastic. If you have not watched Heat, yes, it's not like a high-paced action film. It's a tense film, and it's fantastic.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It is really good. I went with something completely different for my watch. I went something completely different. I went with my childhood again. I went with A Kid in King Arthur's Court.
But that's fun, though.
It is very fun. It's got baseball. It's got high fantasy. But more importantly, for this movie, it has a baby, a very, very baby, Daniel Craig. And this is a 2-for-1 because it also has Kate Winslet pre-Titanic. It has two of them when they're very young as members of the court. And when a baseball player gets transported back into medieval times, he has to save Camelot. It's got baseball. It's got swords. It's everything that I loved when I was a kid. A little bit before my time, but I caught up with it on a VHS tape that a friend of mine had at their place and absolutely fell in love with the movie. It's a fun romp. There was a sequel that's terrible. Don't look that one up. But really the two biggest cast members nowadays, because nobody else has really made it big, Thomas Ian Nichols played the kid, and he went on to do some things. But Kate Winslet and Daniel Craig are kind of two big red flags sticking out of the ground for this, because this was long before either of them were famous. And I think that they're really good in this.
Yeah, when it came to my watch pick, it was a toss-up between Heat and a movie from 1986 called Space Camp that was the second ever film of Joaquin Phoenix.
One of my favorite actors of all time.
When he was being credited as Leaf Phoenix.
Leaf. Oh my goodness.
But yeah,
we can't give him too much crap. He grew up in a cult.
Right. But still, regardless of, Space Camp was definitely fighting for my watch pick. But now we get to your pass film.
My pass film, and we're going back to the horror movie thing. I know you might see this one coming. It's Leprechaun, with first introducing Jennifer Aniston. Rachel, before she was Rachel, still one of the most conventionally beautiful people. I mean, she's a fantastic actress. She's one of those people that kind of has it all. And it didn't matter what she was in first. It was gonna happen for her. She's funny, everything's great, and she is the shining light in this movie too. She's way too good for it though, because wow, this is a bad movie. I hate the concept. The monster isn't scary. You can't make me be afraid of something that I could punt kick like a football and take out immediately. Like, I never got how this got 4 sequels and a remake in 2011. This is one of the horror movie concepts I just don't get it. But very important first movie because it introduced the world to Jennifer Aniston.
You know, we were talking about the Mount Rushmore of horror films. I'm assuming Leprechaun does not end up on the mountain.
No, I think Leprechaun's at like the bottom of the hill in a ravine somewhere.
For the record, and we have to kind of go through this here. Leprechaun released in 1993. Leprechaun 2, 94. Leprechaun 3. Leprechaun 4 in space. Leprechaun
Why did they have to take everything to space as like the 5th installment?
Oh, at least Friday the 13th waited till the 10th. But it kept going. Leprechaun in the Hood. Leprechaun Back to the Hood. Leprechaun Origins. Leprechaun Returns. And there is an untitled Leprechaun reboot currently being worked on.
Jesus, of course there is.
So maybe there's hope for Pinhead after all.
Maybe, if there's hope for the Leprechaun.
All right. I'm going to preface my past film, a film that should not have been made, ever, with 2 words whispered. Shia LaBeouf.
Jesus.
Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd. Now, it doesn't help that I find the first one, and it's funny because we talked Jim Carrey earlier with Earth Girls Are Easy. I can't stand Dumb and Dumber.
I don't get the appeal either. We agree on this because I don't even really like the first one that much, except for the scene when they're in the car. The most annoying sound in the world. That's the only funny bit.
Yeah. It feels like a bad Saturday Night Live sketch stretched out to infinity.
I would put that below Master of Disguise, stuff like that, honestly. I think Master of Disguise is a funnier movie than that.
I mean, when you think about SNL films, and now this is an SNL film, but there are some pretty bad SNL films, and I would still watch those. Like, I'll watch The Ladies' Man over Dumb and Dumber any day. Dumb and Dumberer? Worse.
Infinitely worse.
It feels like one of those American Pie films that has nothing to do with American Pie and they just slap the name on, or a National Lampoon's film, kind of the same thing. And I recognize that those are brands now, and you can basically like pay to have one of those National Lampoon's or American Pie titles slapped onto your film, talking about movies that, you know, have that franchise name put on it and it shouldn't actually be in that franchise at all.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just.
You're getting to the bottom of the barrel comedy wise for me. That's a misstep in Jim Carrey's career. In my mind, that's one of the movies he's so well known for that I just don't find funny.
Yeah. Liar, Liar, brilliant. Loved it, right? Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, I got a good kick out of that.
The Mask was almost on this list for the Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
The Mask was almost on this list because that was introducing Cameron Diaz, and I love that movie.
Yes.
But no, this was early Jim Carrey at, I think, the worst, but for some reason it's so popular.
I'm going to ask you, since you mentioned The Mask here, what sequel should not have happened more? Dumb and Dumberer or Son of the Mask?
Dumb and Dumberer. Because Son of the Mask in concept makes a lot of sense. Execution is what didn't work there. But yeah, Dumb and Dumber, like the concept isn't there. You've had stupid lightning in a bottle with the first one and people loved it. But how do you take that story further? How do you take the story of two people who don't know how life works to the point where like basic tasks are difficult, which I never really found funny. Oh, he's so stupid, he doesn't know how to do it. Like that, it's kind of low-hanging fruit. At least Son of the Mask, like there was a whole lot you could have done there, but you didn't. We talked about it, I believe, when we did the episode on it for It's Not That Bad. There were so many things that could have been done with that sequel, maybe, that would have made it a lot better. And in concept, you can do a lot with it. Just keep giving different people the mask. Dumb and Dumber, you kind of got to follow the two idiots, and neither of them are funny.
Yeah, this is like if you go back and you watch old episodes of Beavis and Butthead, but you take out the parts where they're making fun of the music videos, because that was the best part of Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
But you put all the story parts together. Now, I will say Beavis and Butthead Do America was hilarious.
Yeah.
But that's because they kind of took it to that next level, and they somehow found a way to make a funny movie with all the stupid parts, but yet it somehow worked.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Dumb and Dumberer?
Didn't do any of that.
No. And yes, an early role from Shia LaBeouf. All right, Lyle, remind our listeners what your keep, watch, and pass picks were for movies starring A-list actors before they were big.
My keep is A Nightmare on Elm Street, classic horror with a young Johnny Depp. My watch is a kid in King Arthur's court with a baby Kate Winslet and an even babier Daniel Craig. And my pass it like a football is Leprechaun, introducing Jennifer Aniston. Great that gave the world Jennifer Aniston. Terrible that it gave the world Leprechaun.
All right, my key pick is an early Jim Carrey performance in Earth Girls Are Easy. Still can't believe I get to say that, but yeah, here we are. My watch is an early Natalie Portman performance with Heat, and my pass is an early Shia LaBeouf. Dumb and Dumberer, When Harry Met Lloyd. Lyle, thank you so much for this. Now, please remind our listeners where they can find you out there on les interwebs.
You can find me at 640 Toronto. I am the content producer and co-host of Let's Talk with Danny Stover, 7 to 10 every weeknight. We take a fun look at the day's news. We also get some personal stuff in there and some rants and raves about what's making us upset for the day. You can find us either on the radio or the Radio Player Canada app.
All right, dear listeners, you guys know the drill. If there's a topic that you want us to cover on this show, or there's a movie you want us to cover, but please not Dumb and Dumberer. Don't hate me like this. On It's Not That Bad. Find us on social media at Not That Badcast, or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And while you are there, make sure you check out our other show, There Can Only Be One, where we talk a whole ton of music. With Lyle as well. Until next time, he's Lyle, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.
The Arwen Lewis Show is brought to you by Evolve Entertainment, featured on Pantheon Podcasts. And I'm Arwen. I inhabit our blue planet, but my beliefs belong in the celestial realm. I'm the daughter of Peter Lewis, founding member of rock and roll cult icons Moby Grape, and the granddaughter of Oscar-winning actress Loretta Young, and I've been part of the creative cosmos all my life. I'm a recording artist, musician, songwriter, and producer, and I am your host for The Arwen Lewis Show. The Arwen Lewis Show features in-depth interviews with the hottest indie music artists and music royalty. Listen to me on any of your favorite digital listening platforms, particularly from my channel on Pantheon Podcasts and thearwenlewisshow.com.
Hi, this is Peter Lewis and Moby Grape. You're listening to the Arwen Lewis Show.